What's up, Brett Garamella here, and I'm reviewing the Mavic Mini. Also, because it's the holiday season, I'm giving away a Mavic Mini, so you're gonna wanna stick around to the end of this video so you can find out how to win. So let's get right into it. What's going on, guys? Super pumped up today. Got the Mavic Mini. It's gonna be my first time I've flown it. Just took it outside the box, and 249 grams. This thing weighs nothing. And not only do I have one Mavic Mini, but I'm gonna be flying this with...
What's up?
Ed Ricker.
What's up, Brett? It's been too long. Welcome to Raleigh, man. We're about to fly him, is that right? I hope.
Yeah, I'm super pumped up. Two minis in the air, so you get two perspectives. We're just gonna talk about it. Ed took his out of the box yesterday. I think you had one flight with it yesterday?
Yeah, one battery, and these batteries last 30 minutes, so it felt like a decent flight, to be honest. But now we got two, and we have 4 batteries to work with. We should get a lot more flight time, as long as it doesn't rain.
All right, yeah, we better get to it. Let's go.
Let's go.
Alrighty, 249 grams, ultra light. All right, guys. Now, I haven't really done a true unboxing. There were stickers on here. I did take them off. But the first thing I noticed, the controller looks bigger than the drone. Seems pretty crazy, right? And just taking it out, it just, my first impression is I can't believe how light it is. Not just the size. And, you can see the size on camera here, but I could just tell you, this feels like nothing. It's like a little baby bird.
Now, this is the difference between just getting the drone itself and getting the Fly More combo over here. So the Fly More combo includes the bag and the battery hub with the 2 extra batteries, and a couple of things like prop guards and stuff. But if you were to just buy the Mavic Mini by itself like this is what it would come with, just the box and the remote control.
First off, I think we talked about this before, is just how small it is. It says 249 grams, but it's actually 248 grams, and then you put in the micro SD card in the back, and that's the 249th gram, because your micro SD card, believe it or not, is 1 gram. So that just puts it just under the FAA requirement. And one thing we talked about is, even though it's 249 grams, you don't have to register it with the FAA in the United States and some other countries. You still have to obey the drone laws, okay? You can't just do whatever you want, fly over 400 feet in a lot of places, so.
One thing I'm gonna have to do is take my phone case off so that my phone can actually fit in here. I'm using the Google Pixel 4 XL. Shout out to Team Pixel. What are you using?
Actually, I have 2. I'm using my iPad. I also brought my Google Pixel 3A right here, so.
Representing Team Pixel right here.
I'm representing Team Pixel, but personally, I like to fly with a tablet because you get more screen real estate, but I understand a lot of people like to fly with their phone. This is nice. I like the simple gimbal cover. Just comes right off and on. You gotta take this part off first, and you just gotta be cognizant of these. Don't go like jamming it in there, okay? Just be ever so careful when you put this on and off. That way,
if you jam it on, this could be turned or like torqued in some way, and you might damage the gimbal if you jam that cover on, right?
Yep. And for all you beginners out there, people who are just starting with drones or DJI, you don't want to fly with this on, okay? So before you turn on the drone, take this off, and then when you're traveling, always keep this on, because that will help the longevity of your gimbal. So always keep that on when the drone's not on. Yeah, so every Mavic I've flown, I use this with my tablet. It has, basically, this is for my iPad. This is on one end, this is for my iPad. The other one is my USB. But there's no place to put in my USB. Normally the USB slot is right there, but surprise, DJI fooled us, switched it up. Thanks, DJI. So now I gotta use this other one that came with it, and hopefully this one will be all right. So it was a little tricky to download the DJI Fly app on my iPad. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. So first you have to go to the App Store and just type in DJI Fly. And if your iPad is like mine, you notice you don't see it, okay? It doesn't pop up. But in the left-hand corner, upper left-hand corner, it says filters. You wanna press on that. And then you wanna press on supports. And it currently says iPad only. You wanna change that to iPhone only. And as soon as you do that, DJI Fly app will be the first one. And then you just click on that to download it, and you're all set. Now you have the app. Now, even though the DJI Fly app is out and it obviously works with the Mavic Mini, it appears to be in a beta version. Okay, it doesn't seem to really be refined like the DJI Go 4 app that us DJI drone users have been accustomed to. Now, one thing to note, the DJI Fly app does work with the spark in the air, but it's a little glitchy, so I wouldn't recommend doing that yet. I would stick with the DJI Go 4 app with those two drones. However, eventually, I believe it will work with all DJI drones, and the DJI Go 4 app will eventually be phased out. Why is that button so big and red? Wow.
For the iPad version of this app, or at least the iOS version that's blown up to iPad size, yeah, that's kind of a ridiculous, that's like a preschool phone style size button there.
All right guys, so I'm gonna show you how to switch between video and photo. You can see over here the button is really big, and we just press on that 2.7K, we have our options. We can switch it to photo just by clicking on photo. Now the photo button is white, okay? So that's how you switch from video to photo. You wanna switch it back, just click on that right above the circle, and you can switch it back to video. And of course, if you wanna switch it to your quick shots or your intelligent flight modes, you go down here to quick shots, but you have to be in the air to do that.
24? Where's my 24 frames per second?
That's a question I had. So there's no 24 frames a second right now, and I thought, is this like a Chinese version of the app or like a PAL version of the app?
Currently in video, as you can see, we only have 25 frames per second or 30 frames per second as our options. No 24 frames per second. And if we go to 1080, we still only have 25 frames per second, 30 frames per second, 50 frames per second, and 60 frames per second.
It sort of has a very oversimplified, it doesn't look very, I would say the word might be polished. It might look like almost like a beta version.
Now I'm gonna compare it to my Android Google Pixel 3a. So you can see them side by side. On the left, we have the iPad. On the right, we have the Google Pixel 3a. And you can see them side by side, how they look. For whatever reason, the Google Pixel looks a little more sophisticated, looks a little more finished. The iPad looks more like a beta version.
So it's not that loud either, you know? It's pretty quiet. The other cool thing, and it's interesting to me, is this is not beeping. Normally with the Mavic, the obstacle avoidance sensors will be beeping at you if you're that close.
Not having that beeping sound go off is kind of nice.
Right.
Yeah, it's really nice.
My first impression flying it, as I said earlier, was that it felt super smooth. Like everything just felt cinematic. This is the smoothest DJI drone I've ever flown. With that said, it doesn't have the power that the other Mavics have. Any of the Mavics, including the Air, I feel like it would take off, but it didn't have kind of the thrust in sport mode. Did you notice that
and
as well?
Also, I was getting battery warnings when I was only at 57% battery, saying that I couldn't actually get up to full sport mode because of low voltage. Well, it's not really low voltage. I mean, it's only 57% battery left in the charge status. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I still got it up to 24, 25 miles an hour. What's the actual max speed of this?
I think it's 29 miles per hour.
Okay, so I got close.
Yeah, yeah. And I think 25 to 29 miles per hour is still plenty fast for most shots you're gonna get when you're doing videos. You don't really need 40 miles per hour plus. I mean, it is nice if you're doing like a car chase or something like that, but that's a rare sort of scene. And nice thing about this, I really like, if you're a filmmaker or a professional photographer, filmmaker, and I like this because you can maneuver it in tight spaces. So I was going over there between those trees and just bringing it back, doing some revealing shots and stuff like that. Whereas if I did it with my Mavic 2, I'm a little more worried because it's just bigger, and if I crash, it's also a more expensive drone. So the fact that it's such a small drone and it doesn't cost nearly as much as my Mavic 2 or some of my other DJI drones, I'm not quite as worried and I have more control. But with that said, I felt like this drone, because it doesn't have obstacle avoiding sensors, you always have to keep an eye out for it, right? Like keep it within sight. One thing I was a little bummed out about was that they didn't have the C1 and C2 controllers. The other Mavic drones, they have controller shortcuts on the bottom. And basically I can press this with my finger and I can make the camera go down and up really quick. And I use that
programming that.
Yeah, by programming that. And I program that all the time on my Mavic drone, my Mavic 2. That way, if I'm near someplace, I don't rely on the sensors. I can just look down to see if there's a tree or something underneath me.
Right.
With this, you have to physically move the gimbal. You have to move this over and it goes down slowly, or you can adjust the speed, but it's still slowly, and it's kind of a pain rather than just having it go with one press of the button. So to me, it takes a little longer, and the fact you don't have those obstacle avoidance in those hairy situations, it's gonna eat up a little more battery just to make sure that you don't hit something. It's really hard to tell, especially, you know, when the light's changing today. I had a tough time seeing it with the clouds and so forth.
Right, yeah, when we had both drones up there too, it
Yeah.
was difficult to see which one was in front of the other. They're just little black dots. Now, luckily, because this is a light colored drone,
Yep.
it still shows up pretty dark when you're flying in the sky.
Yeah.
The shadow that it casts darkens, and so you can actually see the drone in the sky. I was worried about that. I'll be like,
Yeah.
can you see a white drone up there? I think
Yeah.
with my Phantom, sometimes the Phantom's really far away and it's white and everything. Well, this one actually was able to still be dark enough to see, at least in cloudy conditions.
The other thing I was gonna say is the build quality, it seems cheap, like it actually moves and kind of wobbles a little bit.
Everything bends.
And
This
it
blade
bends a little bit, but in the air, it's super smooth and solid. And like I was saying, it seems to be the smoothest DJI drone, so I'm fine with that. Like,
yeah.
like to me, the proof is in the pudding. It doesn't really matter if this bends a little bit or might seem a little cheap. In the air, the quality is really good. So
Well, the
that's what I like.
bendability with the lightweight, I mean, if this is 250 grams, I mean, I'm not going to do it, but I could, with the gimbal cover on, I could probably throw it over there and it'd be fine. You know,
Yeah.
the lighter a drone is, the less it's going to break when it falls, unless the components are really, really brittle or something. But the fact that this bends, I think it's going to survive.
The other thing I want to talk about, the quick shot mode. So it doesn't have all the intelligent flight modes like the other Mavic drones, but it does have droney, rocket, circle, and helix. It has those 4 quick shot modes, which are basically, you know, you just tap yourself and press go and it does it. I thought they all worked well. Droney, it didn't go quite out as far as I'd like it to. I don't think it went quite as far as the other Mavics. It went maybe like 100 feet as opposed to like 150 or 200 feet like the other Mavics. It's not a huge deal though. It still worked perfectly fine. The other thing with the Helix, I noticed you could adjust the different measurements, how far out you wanted that circle to go. So I thought that was really nice.
And I did mine. I did it the very
Yeah.
least amount of space, and it still freaked me out. So I was looking behind me to check, and if I were to do it again, I'd have the confidence. But I just wasn't sure how far away that very narrow radius helix would go out.
Overall, the tracking of you as you move, you can do the circle and keep walking. So it kind of is like an active track, but it was good. It wasn't, I would say, as good. I don't think it was quite as good as the Mavic 2.
Yeah, well, because active track would require some amount of obstacle avoidance. And so when this doesn't have obstacle avoidance, it basically just says, okay, let's just get rid of all intelligent flight modes that would require obstacle avoidance. I guess active track is one of them.
You can see it, like I said before, you can see it on camera how small it is, but you won't believe how light it is.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's smaller than the controller. See, I'm hiding it right now behind the controller. So it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's about it, guys. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to Ed's channel. Go check out his channel as well. He makes regular drone videos. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Now we're gonna talk about how you can win a brand new Mavic Mini in the box, unopened. So in order to win this brand new Mavic Mini, you have to follow a couple simple steps. Step 1, you have to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then step 2, you have to add a comment below. Now in that comment specifically, I want you to put a hashtag Mavic Mini at the beginning of the comment. Then after you put the hashtag Mavic Mini, you're gonna have to tell me what you're gonna use the Mavic Mini for and include one question that you have about the Mavic Mini or about DJI drones or about the software, just about DJI drones in general that you'd like to learn. Then I'm gonna read all the comments. I'm gonna pick one winner, and that one winner could be from the United States or international. I'm gonna find a way to ship it to you. I'm gonna announce that winner on December 9th on a live stream here on my YouTube channel at noon New York City time. So if you know someone that also might be interested in winning a Mavic Mini, please share this video with them. And before I go, don't forget to download my free drone gear guide right up there. And that's it. Look forward to reading your comments. I'm Garamella with Garamella.com, and I'll see you in the next video.